It's my passion, it's my job. No fear, just go, try and play and see what happens. I thought I was going to be the main man, the buffalo, the rock. I was on top of the roof of the football world. Look at Desailly.
As a player, he's an incredible competitor, a real athlete, and his passion is football.
It's like a big brother who has the responsibility to show us the way to be successful.
He was a modern centre-half at the start of the 90s.
Anfang der 90er Jahren.
He won many trophies.
Il a donné un aura dans le football mondial.
The first time I saw him on the pitch, I had a glimpse of what he could give us straight away.
I think he's been one of the best players that Chelsea have ever bought.
For me as a young boy, it was like, wow, my hero's here, I'm going to learn before, during or after training.
I've stayed in Ghana only my first 4 years. My stepfather, who was a diplomat, brought my mom and myself to France.
Well, the first year, he was from Nantes and lived with his mum and his family. So he only joined me at the Nantes Academy in his second year.
I entered in the academy, I was 13 years old. I just wanted to play football. I was not lazy, but I was, cool, not much pressure on me. And they were all frustrated because they knew that I was having a big potential.
He started as a midfielder in Nantes and with Deschamps, but the manager at that time considered that he's better that as a central defender.
Luckily in Nantes we had Jean-Claude Suedo, who for me is the best coach.
I believe the academy in Nantes almost anticipated what football was going to be like in the future. Always try to find space, with speed and coherence in your play. And I realised a few years later, when I had a chat with Pep Guardiola, he told me that he used to come and watch us train in Nantes all those years ago. As Marcel Desailly began to establish himself in the FC Nantes Academy, his life was suddenly turned upside down in 1984. His elder stepbrother, Seth Adoncourt, who was a first-team regular with the Canaries, was tragically killed in a fatal car accident.
We were training with the national team as youngsters. I think in Monaco, when the coach and staff came to tell me the bad news. And I could tell they didn't really feel comfortable telling him. So because I was close to him, I felt I had to do it.
We talk about double culture. For the African culture, the main man is gone. So now the family is looking after which one can potentially succeed and help the family through his success. So suddenly, all the eyes was on me.
Desailly signed his first professional contract with Nantes in 1986,
where he spent the next 6 years. By the summer of 1992, he was attracting interest from two of the biggest teams in France, Marseille and Monaco.
For me, it was better to go to Marseille than Monaco. All the family was telling me, you should go to Monaco, my agent, everyone. But I don't know, I could really feel that Marseille was really my destiny, and I just went.
I think it's important for a footballer to move on once you've reached what you set out to do. That's life. You set yourself some objectives and want to move forward. Like a child who moves away from his parents to travel and learn new things. And that was the right time for him to leave Nantes.
He arrived around the same time as me from the French club Nantes. He was around 20 and I was over 30. He was already a national team player and grew into his role.
The first 3 months were quite hard for him, but thanks to his personality and his great team spirit, he became one of the key players for Olympique Marseille, where we both enjoyed playing.
The fact that I arrived in Marseille, for me, it was the end, was final. This is my city, this is my club. I will stay all my life here. No other ambition. I've managed to get to the maximum I was expecting. And luckily that year, Marseille won the Champions League.
It was different to the group stage, as we weren't favourites. AC Milan had an exceptional lineup.
I was looking, at the AC Milan player. They were taller than us, stronger than us, probably faster than us. But once you are on the field, now your natural skills comes on, and we've been able to have that little luck. Abedi put it first post to Basile, who was marked by a French red card.
The team that took the lead would ultimately win the match.
I've never dreamed of winning the Champions League. For me, it was maybe something impossible.
Incredible. To win such an important title for the first time by a French team was amazing.
We were proud for France. We were proud for this region. Marseille, south of France, is historic. This is the feeling, yes, it will stay for life. The first Champions League Cup for a French football team, wow.
Marseille was stripped of their Ligue 1 title that season and relegated after allegations of bribery against opponents Valenciennes ahead of the Champions League final. The club was forced to sell its best players, and in January 1994, Desailly was on the move. As fate would have it, Italian giants AC Milan signed the Frenchman just 8 months after he helped defeat them in the Champions League final.
Truth be told, in those years we were always curious to see who the new players signed by Milan would be. We knew the club, at that time, could buy whomever they wanted, and everybody wanted to join us.
It's a strange feeling because, as I said before, I was supporting Marseille. I was really a Marseille guy, and for me it was the end. I didn't want it to move from this club. It was my club for life. So, a bit unhappy, that feeling, that cross, unhappy, happy, but it's AC Milan.
So in 1993-94, when he joined us, I found him playing alongside me. Finding him playing there and remembering he was a defender was, well, he was still probably finding his feet.
We had plenty of defenders, Baresi, Costacurta, Filippo Galli, so I played him in front of them. It allowed Albertini to play with more freedom and attack more. He was a really fundamental player for us.
I fit perfectly in the system. Alongside Albertini, wow, we've worked very hard to get the ball.
It was very good, very good. Albertini had a bit more quality on the ball, but he was the more aggressive and physical player.
It proved to be a memorable first season in Milan for Desailly, as he helped the club maintain their reputation as being one of the best teams on the planet.
We were very defensive. We were really pressing the opponent from our half, going and press. And if we had the chance to score one, it was finished for you.
We'd already won Serie A and ensured we had some success. And then we reached the Champions League final. We'd already done it in the previous year, but had of course lost it. So it wasn't that easy to get there twice in 2 consecutive years, especially in those days.
Barcelona was the big Barcelona, exactly the same of the Barcelona that you have now.
On the morning of the match, a newspaper was published. A Spanish newspaper showing Cruyff already holding the European Cup.
I remember Capello, who took the article to hang it, in our dressing room to tell us, look how they are treating you. We are AC Milan.
It's actually worked really well for us. Seeing Barcelona's Johan Cruyff laying down on the pitch with a football underneath his head, and the Catalonia press celebrating a Barcelona win before the actual game.
Motivation was there, so we smashed them.
It might sound, on this occasion, for our 4th goal, I passed the ball to Marcel. Somehow I managed to kick the ball.
Bam, bam, my heart is beating and crossed this ball with some small flick on. Now that I'm out of the football, I can never get it anymore. You score the goal, you realize 60, 70, 80,000 people in the stadium, all their eyes was on me at that moment. I was on top of the roof of the football world. Look at Desailly.
At the end, he said, that's fine, but mine should have been the first goal, not the last one. He was just never happy.
Desailly claimed his 2nd Serie A title the following year. But it was a team in decline, and the lure of the English Premier League offered Desailly a new challenge. Before joining up with his new teammates in West London, Desailly had the small matter of representing France on home soil at the 1998 World Cup.
So luckily the group was not that difficult with South Arabia, South Africa and Denmark. So we went through and we built up, the motivation for ourselves and the motivation for the population.
First of all, when you see that country is all full blow, coming like waves from all the provinces from France coming to Paris. Wow.
We beat Italy in the quarterfinal, and we were very stressed against Croatia in the semi-final, where we were losing 1-0, and Thuram he managed to get us back to this final.
Football is magic. What Lilian did was pure magic. He scored a few goals, but these two were amazing. We were not expecting him to. It was probably a sign that we would win that year.
Thuram's brace set up a mouth-watering clash against the reigning world champions and pre-tournament favourites Brazil. Inspired by the brilliance of Ronaldo, it would be his name that dominated the pre-match build-up as reports emerged of their star man collapsing.
Aimé Jacquet came in the dressing room, said, not sure if Ronaldo is going to play or no, but guys, it doesn't change anything. We are prepared with him. We've studied his movement, his capacity to dribble, and if he's not there, so Edmundo or some other players will come and replace him. So it was not for us an issue.
Half an hour before the game, he was on the team sheet again.
Aimé Jacquet told us and showed us a couple of corners that Brazil have conceded and how they have defended. So he told us that for sure there will be some opportunity in the corners.
Zizou focused on that zone and scored 2 goals with his head.
It was not that good in the air, it was just having a good timing and clever brain.
Sadly for Desailly, his brain went into meltdown in the 68th minute.
Violence, late tackle, I don't know what happened. 2-0 up with half an hour to play and we ended up with only 10 men on the pitch. That was unnecessary.
I went crazy. There was no chance for me to get the ball. So, wow, I abandoned my teammate. So I got this second yellow card. From the moment he gave it to me, I said to my guy, good luck. And I just ran away and go back and sit down and assume my responsibility on that mistake, because it's a mistake.
Emmanuel Petit added a 3rd goal deep into stoppage time. And for the first time in their history, France were world champions.
Great moment, it's just an amazing moment.
With a World Cup winners' medal firmly in his pocket, Desailly's attention now turned to the Premier League with Chelsea. The signing was a signal of intent about where the Blues were going.
Yeah, he was seen as a coup. I think he's been one of the best players that Chelsea have ever bought, to be perfectly honest. Because from the playing aspect, you obviously want top quality football coming in. But it's very seldom you get the both come in. Top quality and top quality guy as well. And that's what we got with Marcel.
Being a centre-half back in the day, for me there was no one better. He'd come to the football club having won everything.
I knew him quite well because I played against him many times, and I was looking forward to him joining us and also improving our team professionally.
When he first arrived, you can think, bloody hell, I'm not going to get in the team for another 4 or 5 years, they're so easy here. And for me, I sat there and thought the complete opposite. For me, I thought I got 2 or 3 great years of learning from the very best, so I'm going to use every minute and every bit of time that I can to learn from Marcel.
Whenever you get any player come into a club of stature, the training levels come up another 10%. Marcel brought them up 15%.
They taught us a completely new way of how to live, how to eat, what to do, what not to do, both on and off the pitch. And for me as a young boy, it was like, wow, my hero's here, I'm going to learn, whether that's before, during or after training.
I thought I was going to be the main man, the buffalo, you know, the rock, the one that nobody gets near. And I quickly realized that it was not going to be like that. It was going to be tough. One of my first games was in Coventry. You know, we played them. So I had to mark Ian Dublin.
I remember again in the tunnel before entering the pitch, you know, I went to Dean and I said, hey Dean, look what we've got this here. Desailly. You're going to have a hard time today. And what happened? We lost.
I thought I was strong, but the guys, on top of being strong, they have the technique, how to move, how to hold, you know. So I had to learn. I had 6 months very difficult.
But it was soon after that he understood what the Premier League was all about and started to perform at a very high level.
I think I have that tactical ability to read the game, but that fighting spirit was, it was tough. I was used to win all my battles. I was used to intimidate the opponent, but in England, difficult to intimidate the opponent.
Desailly helped Chelsea to a 3rd place finish in the Premier League in his first season, meaning Champions League football would grace Stamford Bridge for the very first time.
We'd play games in the Premier League and he was always up for big games, but then we started getting into the Champions League and he just come into a different human being. That's what he lived for, the Champions League, and he loved it, he'd tasted it and he'd won it. Standing alongside him when the Champions League thing comes on, he'd just be screaming down the line, this is what it's all about. And for me as a young kid, like, it still gives me goosebumps today.
It was arguably Desailly's impact behind the scenes, and in particular on a young John Terry, that was his real legacy.
Being able to play next to Marcel, I think for JT was very crucial in these early years.
John, I think, has been very appreciative of what he learnt off of Marcel.
He was like my hero. Was training. I was just watching him every day, sometimes training alongside him. He was a great trainer for me. He worked hard, he worked in the gym after, he'd done a lot of stretching after. Important about the food side of things. And we're talking kind of 20 years ago, which is, you know, well ahead of the game back then. We must have got on his nerves in the end because we was constantly asking questions. What happens if this situation arises in the game? How do you deal with this? How do you deal with a quick player, a strong player? But he had so much time and patience for us. Not only did I learn from the very best as a footballer, but as a human being as well. Just what he'd done around the place was superb for me to learn off of.
Desailly helped Chelsea win the FA Cup in May 2000, the last at the old Wembley Stadium. But it wasn't the only final he reached that year. France reached their second consecutive major final when they faced Italy at Euro 2000.
'98 we were not the best. 99, 2000, 2001 and probably 2002 before the World Cup crash for France, we were the best team in the world, no doubt. Never give up, still believe there's a small chance and we went for it, yes. Happy to win against the Italians. I mean, we've been in Italy playing for Italians and we were pleased about it, yes.
After a second major international, he stayed until 2004. He spent 2 further years playing in Qatar before announcing his retirement in 2006. During his career, he won the FA Cup, 2 Serie A titles, the Champions League twice. Despite all the success, Desailly will always be remembered as one of the game's true gentlemen.
First and foremost, when you get someone like Marcel coming into the club, you just think of personality. And I wasn't disappointed. What a fantastic guy.
He came into the dressing room and was so open and so relaxed, and what a great man. Just to have time for myself and the younger players, but to be so humble after all he'd achieved in the game was incredible, and he was so kind of enthusiastic to pass on everything he'd learned.
He was like a big brother. I was very young, so I was looking up to him like a child. We all wanted to be like him.
He's the rock. He's very strong, but also very sensitive. As a player, he's an incredible competitor, a real athlete, and his passion is football.
Impeccable performer, impeccable. And I used to love watching him play.
For me as a young boy, I dreamed of having someone like that to look up to. A great man and a great friend of mine.
You don't really realize at the time, you just play and try and be the best, but good memories.
E alla fine riesce a riprendere ancora il discorso dicendo sì, ma doveva essere il primo, non l'ultimo, quindi non era mai contento.